should talk to Chief Hanlon if you have any questions. He's usually up on the balcony.
The house resort. The house always wins. Yeah, I guess the delivery of this game is mainly a result of, well, you know, we don't really have the money to pay for voice acting.
Bethesda only gave us 2 weeks to make a game.
Back west, you don't see too many of these. Lakes, I mean. Natural or man-made. Any kind, really. We neglected the dams or pumped all the water out a long time ago. Owens, Isabella, the San Luis. Drained the aquifers of everything they had. Just a lot of mud and dust now. It's a different feeling watching the sun come up over the water. Takes some getting used to. But if you're here long enough, it starts to seem normal. That's what a ranger's life is now, looking east. You must be the courier folks have been talking about. Word on the radio is that someone wronged you back in Good Springs. The Mojave has a way of burning decent people up. But it sounds like you've done right by the NCR. It's appreciated. Now what can I do for you?
Do you ever stop talking?
Let me tell you about
Folks
the
around
water
here
and
call
the
me
reflection
chief,
of the
but
sun.
Hanlon's just fine. The Rangers run themselves pretty well. But I try to lend a hand. Mostly administrative work, helping coordinate intel on the radio.
Life is like
That
a
and
box
keeping
of
an eye on the
chocolate.
fires
You
going
do
across the
paperwork and then you talk on the radio.
It's a simple system when it works. Patrol rangers radio intel to ranger stations. Comm rangers send the intel up the station chain until it reaches Camp Golf. Then I or one of the other rangers on duty organize the data, evaluate it, and send information to camps or troopers in the field. Comm rangers might have an incomplete picture of the situation. There's a lot going on out there. Intel needs to be coordinated through Gulf so we can verify and advise appropriately. Troopers have enough to deal with. We don't want them questioning their intel. Shoot. The best of the best, and worst of the worst. He came out of NCR, one of the followers of the apocalypse. Like a lot of the followers, he went out in the wilderness with a partner to try to help those who needed helping. Not much different from how the Rangers used to be. Except with books and medicine instead of guns. Out to the Grand Canyon. He met a missionary from Utah, a man by the name of Joshua Graham. Graham helped translate for the followers and the tribes. All three of them got nabbed by the Blackfoots down there, back when they were still at war with every other tribe in the Southwest. Somewhere along the way, he realized he needed to educate the Blackfoots or they were going to get wiped out with the rest of the tribe. Showed them how to use guns, how to make explosives. Once he taught the Blackfoots a thing or two, they needed him. And he no longer needed the followers, NCR, or anyone else. He decided he could remake the tribes of the Southwest whether they wanted it or not. He became Caesar, and Joshua Graham became his legate, his right hand. And that's where Graham stayed until Hoover Dam. Losing the dam was the worst defeat the Legion ever suffered. Graham had been with Caesar since the beginning, but he had to set an example. The Praetorians covered Graham in pitch, lit him on fire, and down into the Grand Canyon he went. It's not that clear-cut. You have to understand, Graham was the toughest son of a gun anyone around these parts had ever seen. Before Hoover, we had 5 kill reports on Graham from Rangers and 1st Recon sharpshooters who tried to take him out. Some folk think he's still alive. Call him the Burned Man.
Yeah, I don't know. Somehow there's no further question after that. Oh, this guy was on fire and he was invincible. He may still live. Okay, alright.
Yes and no. The Blackfoots don't exist anymore, just like any other tribe that gets swallowed by the Legion. Caesar takes the tribal out of the tribe. Scrapes and burns off tattoos, breaks up families, forces mixed breeding so all the old loyalties die away. The only tribe in the Legion is the Legion. Caesar is the chief, father, and god, all rolled into one. Shoot. Even Caesar knows that General Oliver's coming back to Hoover. Colonel Moore's doing a fine job of running things over at the dam. In her own way, of course, when she's not trying to wrangle my rangers into helping her. But just keeping that dam secure and operational day to day is enough work for one person. Never mind building a defense against the Legion. Oh, well, now you'll have to excuse me. The General and I don't always see eye to eye on things. Maybe it's best that I just say he's a trooper, through and through. The man will not give up an inch for anything, least of all to the Legion. The Colonel's an effective commander, one of the best. But she sharpened her claws on the Vipers and the old Jackals. Did 4 tours against the Brotherhood, too. She used to be a ranger until an injury took her out of action. Happens to a lot of us, unfortunately. She's better at making graves than making friends. Bring in Moore and the earth will be raised. Fields will be salted.
And yeah, tomorrow is my birthday.
No, and thanks to General Oliver for that. Colonel Shue is at McCarran. Most of the new Vegas troopers are under his command. He's more sympathetic to the locals than Moore, but he's got the fiends to deal with. Shoot. Intel says the legate's coming. Lanius. They call him the monster of the East. If he's half as bad
I
as
stepped out
Frank,
for a minute. You're still talking to this guy?
Yeah.
with Caesar and a new legate here, the Legion's not going to fall for the same old bag of tricks. Oh, the usual
my God.
reasons. People say he's enormous, carries a big sword, chops people's heads off. That's
I don't
not
know.
what makes him a good commander.
This conversation is very
Folks
relaxing.
say he came from a heck of a tough tribe. Took
It's like it's
Caesar
your
a long
friendly
time to
grandpa
conquer.
telling you about
It was thanks to
history.
Lanius. But once Caesar broke him, he was born again. He'll go anywhere and do anything to win. Legion says he could smell weakness. Once he finds out where an army's vulnerable, he'll go to it like a dog for the throat. He was a missionary from Utah who hooked up with Caesar at the Grand Canyon, became his translator. Graham helped Caesar with the Blackfoots after they got captured together. Up until Hoover Dam, he was Caesar's legate. You wouldn't think a man of God could turn so brutal, cruel to his opponents. Did the sort of things that make you sick to talk about. He wasn't a brilliant strategist. Wasn't tactically flexible either. There was something about him, though. Menace.
Someone yawning in the background because this is so long
Made
and
everyone
boring.
afraid of him.
Either
Heck,
that or
the
somebody
Victorians
just
burned Graham 4 years
yelling
ago,
like
and
it's
some of the
spring
tribes are
break.
still afraid of him. They say the burned man still walks the land.
Chief Hanlon! Yes!
Shoot.
Having more fun than
I
this
could tell
guy.
you a lot if you had the time. But at my age, I'm
No, you
not
can
sure
tell us
which
a
of
lot.
us
I'm pretty
gets out
sure
first.
everybody here is ready.
What do you want to know? Suppose it depends on what you think's good.
No, stop.
Those
Stop
folks wanna
talking.
hear
to
No,
this.
we're here to get all the dialogue.
It's a long story. If you want some tall tales about hunting down slavers or busting up gangs, talk to one of the younger rangers. It's kind of a long one, but all right. About 25 years ago, a group of NCR settlers pushed way south into Baja. I guess it doesn't seem so far now if you look at a map, but back then they were out of ways. They built this little shanty town around a
Yeah,
well
marathon
full of
stream,
gold,
Hanlon
called it
talking.
Rattletail.
Oh. Continue.
Word got back to one of our stations.
Do we get
Raiders
experience
had
by
been
just
attacking.
talking to him?
No, that's because we passed a speech chess.
We must have been on the trail
Speech
for a week before we
check.
got to Rattletail.
A speech chess.
We lost one woman to night stalkers and another almost died of dehydration. When we reached the place, it's 6 shacks set up around an old well. There's over 2
I don't even know what he's talking about anymore.
5 men with
I know,
It's
but
just-
it's kind of relaxing in its own way.
He's just
These
talking
bodies,
now.
These people out in the sand, they aren't raiders, aren't even heavily armed. They're just people who.
I'm
were
just
trying to
wondering
get
if they
to
just
well in 50 miles.
saw an old guy at
didn't have
a
to
retirement
talk to the
home
men
that
to see that they
spoke a
did
whole
not
lot,
care.
and then they just ask him to talk about whatever. Okay, cool,
Alright.
keep talking, we'll put that in order.
They had planted an NCR flag over the well. They would not budge until every last one of them was laid out dead and cold. So I walked up and told them there was a group of raiders coming, 100 strong. I made up some cockamamie name for them and everything. Men looked at each other, looked at us.
I don't
asked me
even
what we
know
were
what
gonna
he's
do.
talking.
I told him we were back in the NCR
going.
because we'd already
Just
lost
say
10
that
rangers on the way
already.
out. 10 rangers.
Yeah, no, he did. He totally did. I remember.
Well, that was enough. For us. They
I'm
backed
just
up what
talking
they
in
could,
circles
and we
now.
took back over. Last I heard, they said
Chief
the
Hanlon,
Somalis
the
raised big horns. That's what tough times. It worked out okay for us. So there you go. That's my one bit of good.
Oh, it's over.
In big battles, Caesar deploys his legionaries in waves. Recruits up front, prime soldiers behind the recruits, old guard bringing up the rear. Opponents wear themselves out even in the
Thank
first
you,
2
Tom
waves,
Lewis.
if they survive that long. When the veterans step up, there's not much fight left. Caesar can adapt, though, and when required, he can run any mix of legionaries as skirmishers, but still retain order in
We
ranks.
tied an onion to our belts, which was the style.
Joshua Graham, Caesar's old legate, he wasn't so flexible. When the Legion attacked Hoover Dam, General Oliver ordered his troopers back to the middle ground just after first contact. Graham pushed all of the legionaries onto the dam, filling the east side with recruits up
I don't know. I mean, it might as well be also thank you for the donation, Ravenstorm.
This is why
It's
Caesar
extra
wanted to
bit.
conquer the west. Or the
But
east,
once
whatever,
they were in,
whatever
they were
direction
stuck
we're
there.
at.
Oliver's troopers were entrenched and wouldn't give a foot. That's when we ordered the Rangers and the 1st Recon Sharpshooters to start picking off veteran Legion officers from the high ridge west of the dam. That only lasted about a
fucking
minute
stop
before Graham
laughing
ordered the back ranks to push through to
This
the
is
front and
what the
rush
game
bridge.
has come to. Your grandpa telling you about the news.
Caused total chaos among the younger
We
Legionnaires.
really should get experience for this for
Oliver's
free.
troopers
Just
fell
listening
back
to all
the
this
side
crap.
walkways and stayed out of the veterans' way.
And you'd
By the
only
time
get
the
the
veterans got to the
experience if
ridge,
you
we
sit
were
through the
already
whole
full.
dialogue.
They followed us down there, but we were out before they realized what was happening.
And the
We
first
packed the
recon
old
burst
city
down the
with
door and
C4
we saw a
and
pile of lemons. And then they
Yeah,
all
but,
looked at each other and made some lemonade.
Those who
That's
didn't
what
die
you
Excellent
do.
in the
bits,
battle
milestone.
Doesn't
resisted
make
the
you
mountain
life
defense.
gives you lemons, you
The
make
ones left on
lemonade.
the
That's
dam
what I
didn't
told
know
the
what
first
to do.
recon.
The troopers routed them. Graham pulled the remaining legionaries back, but the battle was over.
It's like
He
by
went
the time we
south back
finish
to
this
Grand Canyon
conversation,
after
it's already gonna be too late.
That was
Caesar's
the last
gonna
we saw
invade the
her.
Hoover Dam again.
Shoot.
Just talking to this old man and there's flames
I-
rising in the background.
Oh, well, I guess it must be coming up on 40 years or so. Back before Elise was chief, anyway. It was a heck of a lot harder then. Weren't as many of us to go around, but I think it was a lot easier to tell the good guys from the bad. Well, there's what we're supposed to be doing and what we're actually doing. There's a big gap between those two things, about as wide as that lake out there. To protect against all forms of tyranny. As simple as that. 30, 40 years ago, the wasteland was full of despots. Slavers, raiders, tough-talking hoodlums with gangs who liked to kick around towns. Back then, the NCR military was still young.
Except
Couldn't
me,
cover
who's
much
eternally
It
old.
took groups like ours to tip the balance back to the good guys. Sitting on the shore of Lake Mead, looking east, listening to a radio, trying to not get too many people killed. I'm too old to be slapping leather, but I had hoped for something else. More than this, anyway. There's a
Call
lot
me
of
a leather
answers to
slapper
that
back in
question,
the old
but it
days, and I
started
got
with
paid
the Ranger
50 cents an
unit
hour
case
for it.
We weren't all
Much of a job no more. Got old
Conversation
out of
is
fashion.
older, is longer than full 34.
Caesar even farther east out in Arizona.
It may very
Years
well be
back, we
competing.
met with the Desert Rangers at Mojave Outpost and agreed to help them against Caesar if they would join the NCR.
Okay, so I guess that's all the dialogue. But I thought he will give you quests, though.
Adios.
This was the quest.
It's like, that was the only reason why I spoke to this guy. Because I swore that he had a quest. But no, all he did was speak for 40 hours.
We were so poor, all we had was leather, so we ate the leather, and then we put it in vinegar, and that's how you make Tabasco sauce.
Oh, hey, a chemistry set. Oh, wait, you can't even interact with chemistry.
Back
Oh.
then, we didn't have chemistry, we just had nails and wood, and then we made
Oh.
a house.
Also, this is kind of a sinister picture here. Just like, why will there be a toaster in a bat?